kind of ready for the season start because he made it back in December. What have you seen from him in the past 9 months?
He's done a great job, coming in and, working really hard. That's the number one, job you got to do is work. And he has. He put his head down. He went to work. He's got some game experience under his belt, playing last year, different school, but he did a really nice job there, and we're looking forward to the season getting started.
Has he seized that job at this point?
Yeah, he's going to go out week one. That'd be good. Yep.
And then the kicker competition. What more do you need to see in this last week?
We got two guys. I know I didn't hear the exact quote, but Coach Day said it exactly. We got two guys that can get it done. Have been really doing a great job this camp. We're just trying to make sure we finalize it the right way, and we have the the best guy going when it's time to go kick the ball. We got a little time to do before we make that decision. Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you mentioned having a little bit of time. Do you have a time where you want to have a decision made?
I think that no. To this one?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, bud. Not necessarily. We don't have like an exact timeline set. I think we're just trying to make sure that when we do make the decision, we feel really good about it.
Will you, last year, obviously, you had Noah handled two, Jaden kicked off. Are you looking for one guy to do both? Are you open to having one guy do one versus the other? How does that play in?
I think you could. It's really what's best for the guys and the team. As you saw 2 years ago, Noah kicked off and kicked field goals, and he, that was good for him. Then last year, Jaden kicked off, Noah kicked field goals, and I think that it's kind of, you might play week to week, play to play. Depends on how many kickoffs, depends on how many field goals. But like I said, we have two capable guys, and we're gonna, use them both to the best of their abilities.
Parker, do you expect Mecca to be your primary punt returner again?
Yeah, Mecca will be back there to start. We got a bunch of guys again that can do that at a high level. We're trying to work through details of when and what calls and what situations. But yeah, Mecca will be back there to start.
Is Marvin still just jumping out there for fun? Like, does that mess with your evaluation?
No, it does not. No, I said this already.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. If like everybody trains at different things. When we go to special teams and specialist period, everybody's working on something, and so that's a skill that you got to practice to be really good at. And so him tracking balls and getting used to that stuff is something that he's always working on. And you saw we played Nebraska in what was it 2020 I think, maybe it was 2019 on the road, and Chris went in to catch a punt. You know what I mean? It was one of those deals, Olave. So he was always getting reps, and then, hey, you're up. Great. So it's one of those things that you never know how it plays out.
So did they ask you about kickoff returns before I walked over too?
No, they did not. They did not. Yes, you can. We've got two guys that we really like that have done it. Mecca did it. X did it. Travion Henderson's done it too. So there's a bunch of guys that are going to rotate back there, and we're going to, find the hot hand and get it rolling.
Are you open to having that kicker competition bleed into the season? Or
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm hoping to get it solidified pretty soon, but we got to do what's right for the team, and we'll see.
How close have they been, like, in scrimmages?
They've been close. They've been very close. They've both done really well this fall, and so that's what's made it. When you have two really good kickers, that makes it a little harder, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I guess in December when you got John Furman in, when you were looking forward, were you looking specifically to take a long snapper, or did you kind of see John come across your desk and was like, okay, this is a guy we've got to look at here?
A little bit of both. I think that you always look at, how can you improve your roster no matter what position, and that was I got really good reports on him, and obviously we try and vet everything we possibly can, and that was one I got, like I said, really good reports on, and it just kind of it fit really well for kind of what we needed at the time. So a little bit of both.
And when you're scouting the portal for one snapper, a position where it's kind of you're down to a few things that you're doing there, and at this level, everyone's kind of doing it at a high level. What are the intangibles you're looking at when you're assessing?
That's probably the hardest part is the intangibles. You can see the film, you can, get secondhand what other people say about him in terms of intangibles, but you want a guy that takes care of business. He knows, how to be a great teammate. He knows how to be a hard worker, a leader, and then he knows how when it's really time to go to work, you don't have to, tell him twice. He knows, he goes, he gets his job done, helps other people get their job done at a high level, and there's not a lot of conversation about that. We have scheme and technique and all those things, but the work and the locked in, the focus, that's what you're looking for, those intangibles. Yeah, oh no, I was prepared. I figured that was what was coming.
If when you have two close guys, what are some of the factors that are top of your list when you're evaluating? Like, what are the things you care the most about when trying to settle on a guy?
Making kicks. when you have that's it. That's the number one factor. But there's a lot of things that go into that. Situationally, there's the eye test. Nothing is ever perfectly equal when you're looking at one kick to the next. So you kind of have to evaluate all the circumstances that are around that kick. But really, you want a guy you know what you're going to get. That's what you're looking for in everything. Coach says do this, and you get it. Right? You can scheme around it. You can plan around it. That's really what you're looking for. Kicker questions? Anything else? I get the same every year. Who's going to be the kicker, punt returner, kick returner? That's what I get, which is good.
Everyone can see them on the field clearly.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And then I always joke in my head, I'm thinking like, well, we'll find out pretty quick, First, when the guy runs out there, it's pretty obvious. But no, I get it. There's a lot of hype and a lot of different – we have a lot of really good players. And that's, one of the harder things is finding that balance and that rhythm for when you need the right players to be in the right spots at the right time. And that's always kind of the challenge of a special teams guy each year when you have multiple really good players at different positions. How do you use everybody's abilities the best for the team? That's why, we try and have a lot of guys trained to do a lot of different things. And then when the moment comes, you got a guy ready based on all the other factors. So.
When you want those gunner spots, it's typically been a place where you guys have used younger, talented guys that have been able to show their athleticism and get down the field.
Sure.
Anyone that's stood out those spots that
Well, I mean, luckily, two of our guys that played a lot for us, really three, that played a lot for us at gunner, Proctor, Julian, JB, they're back. We'll use some defensive players doing, as I said, Proctor. But yeah, we have some young, talented receivers, and you'd like to find a way for them to go make a play, get a little confidence. That's something that we've had a lot of guys do around here. But it doesn't have to be the young guys. If you remember Chris's senior year, Olave, he was, Terry, McLaurin, they were gunners, Devin Smith was a gunner, those type of guys. And so it's really a job that when a guy owns it, does it, you like to, once again, based on scenario and how many punts and what situation, maybe he ran a go ball on third down and maybe it's not his time right now. But it's hard to get those guys off the field because they take pride in that. And so, we'll have some young guys, some defensive backs that we're going to use to go, maybe not even young guys. They're going to, some corners that can really run. We'll use those guys just to have a fresh body out there all the time. But that's, that's kind of how we've done it.
Position that Coach Day talks about young guys coming in and cutting their teeth there. How do you build consistency on special teams, especially at kind of like those two times, so where you're bringing in a lot of young guys from year to year and having to kind of show them the ropes there?
Yeah. I mean, that you have to be okay to work through some issues. That's kind of the way you got to know who you're playing, what the situation is, who you can really count on, and what positions you need them to go have no mistakes. And then there's some that, hey, we're going to work through some stuff here, and I know that guy's going to be better for it on the back end, and it's going to make our team better. And so that's kind of the year in and year out, you've got to find where you can put a guy that he's allowed to fail and grow from it. And who do you have there? Those are typically the guys that are going to grow from it, and you need to grow. Young players that maybe aren't playing a ton. And how do you get better? You go play. So that's part of it, is where you can find those roles. And then you have vets that were once in that spot around them to make them right if things don't go perfect. And then you teach them and you watch the film and you grow and you hope after they've done it a few weeks, then they're ready to take that role over for the next 2 to 3 years. That's kind of how it goes. It's a good question, though. Really good. What else? Clay, nothing?
I'm still trying to shoot the franchise over there.
Oh, so he's over here. He's looking past me.
No, I heard everything.
You should see if we put him up for punts.
I'll ask you another one about
Yeah.
punts.
Yeah.
So you have a guy that's been in the program for so long, right? So you do this whole position now. I mean, is there any effects you're feeling having to go to a new long snapper? It's like, stuff you hadn't thought about in one that's like, oh, we didn't know that, Brad, or it's like, that Brad had done it for so well. It's like you're bringing in a new guy. It's like, I took this for granted maybe when Brad's been doing it for so long.
There's a lot of things that you do, and a a large number of them aren't even on the field. Like how do we travel? What do we do on Fridays, on Saturdays, on Sundays? What's our routine? All those? Where do we sit? What little specialists? Don't get me. They have a lot of little, nuanced traditions that they do. And a guy like Brad and before him Liam and those guys, they I think they started back with when I was first year with Bryce and George McCreadis, but they just kind of happen. And now you're right. There's some of those where I'm looking around like nobody knows all those details exactly. And so we do. I mean, that when you want to only focus on football, all the other things need to kind of get out of the way. And there's a lot of that's where we're going to do trial runs and, mock games and scenarios to try and get through those before actually game day. And that you're right. Brad had a lot of that stuff just taken care of, and he'd teach the young freshmen, all the specialists, and, now we don't quite have that. But we've got some other guys that have done it, so we just work through it. Well, the on the field stuff very, very quickly. It's all the, specialist being specialist type of things that I don't know if we haven't done a game. He hadn't played a game yet, and so we were talking the other day. We had to walk through what do you do on pregame warm up? When do you go out? Well, who goes out? What's the protocol there? Because he has a certain routine he's done at another place, and now we have to make sure that he's comfortable with what we're going to do here. And so that's a little thing that you take for granted, and it's like, hey, it's game day. So that's another one of those things that we have to, work through.
So you found a punter. Mirko's the punter?
Yes.
And the kicker, has that been decided?
Has not.
Is it as tight as the quarterback?
I can't speak to that, but it's we're not ready to make a decision yet. Two guys that we feel really good about. And so, yeah.
How do you can you get them in pressure situations in practice?
We do. It's not the same, obviously, as in a game. But we do, and we've got a couple guys that were here last season. We had some banked reps from practice and from some of those modified simulated game situations that we've created. And I think just more data points is always better if we can have them and get a great look at how the guys are really performing and as many kicks as you can get is always a better number. So we'll keep working through that.
Parker, Xavier spent a lot of time on special teams. Just what are the things that Xavier has done that made him the right guy for the Blocko and captain this year?
I better guy couldn't have got it. Since I've come back here, he's been one of those guys that, I think Coach Day kind of read the stats out to the team. He's played on all 4 special teams units, all 4 years that he's played. He didn't start him on all of them all the time, but you go back a few years ago, and he was a guy that he might not even have started on a unit, but he played on every unit because he could play each position. Hey, you're in at that spot, and then you're in at that spot. And he just learned the whole system, and he plays so hard and so aware. And I'll use – there's 2 clips back-to-back that I'll use for the rest of my career where, he's in the Notre Dame game, and he catches a touchdown pass on a 3rd down play down in the north end zone, and he scores. I think we were losing at the time, and now we're winning. And I'm not going to say it was the biggest moment football of his life, but it doesn't get much bigger than that, and he was running down on kickoff all game. And what happens is, the whole place is going nuts. He's excited. And I go run to him and I say, X, if you need a sub, I got you on this one. He looks at me dead in the eye and says, no chance, coach. I got this. He runs down and makes a tackle on the 15-yard line, gets off a block and does it. And it just, some guys look for ways to, do the other, not X. And then, he returns kicks. He was so good at off returner for so long that we said, hey, man, he runs the show back there. And then we put, I can't speak more highly of a guy that's just put in the work and everything that he's done and how he's just, developed him. He's earned everything he's gotten.
What is it that makes him such a good special teams player?
He's extremely intelligent. He's aware of all the, to play football is great. And then to run down 40 yards every time and then play a football play, that's different. Fast, great hands, great skill set. I mean, there's a lot of things that he does that you can't coach. You coach off, hey, man, great job. Why'd you do that? Okay, let's tell other people that in the future because he's got a knack for space, for physicality, for finesse. He's just kind of got all those tools. And so that's one thing. He can play any position on the special teams. So,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.